Okay. Action indeed is the sole medium for the expression of ethics. Jane Addams. Our topic is advocates and activists. Real quick, where are my glasses at, yo? Got the greasy sad face look. Alright. I thought I had wrote down a couple people that you might be able to deal with here. Maybe I didn't. We'll go off the top. Let's talk about Langston Hughes, Nelson Mandela, Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi. All of the above can be considered to be activists. So, pardon, what is the difference between an activist and an advocate, and what are their roles? Well, an advocate is one who empowers an individual or group of individuals for a particular cause. Though they may speak for them, to get certain things accomplished, their overall goal is for that individual or group of people to be able to handle the situation on their own. For example, a child gets a scholarship to a school, and due to zoning, the scholarship may be snatched from him, saying that he doesn't actually live, pardon me, in the area in which he would be able to benefit from it. Or an advocate would make the proper phone calls, connect the dots, communicate with the school board, the zoning commission, speak on the individual's behalf so that the individual can benefit from that action, still be able to go to school, and in turn be empowered to utilize all that the school has to offer. Again, I apologize for the cough. And just had a medical situation and then came down with bronchitis while I was in the hospital. So breathing is an issue with me right now. Coughing every once in a while. All right, well, but as an activist, well, we know in the root word of activist, we hear the word active. So we know that we're going to deal with some sort of action. Well, in that case, we're dealing with individuals who not only speak, but actually do the legwork for the individual, the group of people or the cause that needs to be done. Now, I'll give you a few examples. You have a man who's wrongfully accused and convicted. Could you imagine yourself coming home from work, coming home from school, walking down the street, driving down the street, and once you get to your destination, you're apprehended, arrested, detained, accused of a crime, a heinous crime, taken to court and convicted. You're going to need someone who can stand up for your rights, someone who makes sure that you will actually receive a fair trial, someone who listens to you and knows that if you didn't do it, you need someone who's willing to fight for your rights or speak on your behalf. Bring national attention to your situation. A child is molested. This child's powerless, has no ability to speak on a political platform for himself or herself, has no ability to fight for himself or herself. We need those who not only advocate for the child, but actually press the issue so that particular protection laws, penalties, or whatnot can be produced and pardon me, and utilized on battered women. Not in any way saying that women are not powerful enough to defend themselves in certain instances, because they're the most powerful people in the world. However, all too many times you find women who are oppressed by those who they love, and physically, mentally, sexually, or taken advantage of. And though the situation is known, sometimes you may have to have a little bit more force to press the issue to get government officials to make certain things a priority. Homeless veterans. When you say veterans, a lot of people, they get patriotic and they're ready to step up. Well, a lot of veterans come back from overseas or during the tour, and they don't have anywhere to go to. They're disabled. Unfortunately, a lot of the veterans that we come across, they've been used, and when they come back, they don't have any more use for them, and they end up being homeless. It may be due to a psychiatric issue, post-traumatic syndrome or whatnot, but still yet, they have, pardon me, they have issues they have to deal with. You have a felon released from prison. He's now considered a felon, so now he has strikes against him, and he may be considered to be unhireable. He may need somebody not only to advocate for him, but there also has to be activists who force society to utilize their resources and accept those who were part of society once, to open the door and give them a chance to be rehabilitated back in. Hey, there's an entire race that are being killed in the streets daily. We hear Black Lives Matter and hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. There's a lot of issues. And when we have these demonstrations are held by the activists as well as advocates. Being activists now is on a digital level. People are doing it via Twitter, via Facebook, pressing their agendas. And okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. But basically, the NASW Code of Ethics, is basically to help those who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. So your activists who are more hands-on, or your advocates who help connect the dots for those who fall under those categories. Help those who are vulnerable populations, those who are oppressed, as well as those who are living in poverty. And lastly, we want to adhere as social workers to NASW core values, which is service, social justice, and maintaining the dignity and self-worth of a person or of all people in general. So, in closing, I want to let it be known that advocates deal with groups of people, and activists deal with groups of people who are organized with resources and with a strong shared idea. We deal with issues of relative deprivation. We know that we want people to have better and conventional methods that didn't work, so we're trying to find ways to make them work. And we have to learn to work with allies as well as opponents. Before I lose my voice, I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll see you next segment.